There is someone who forgave a partner for cheating. How? It all ended. I forgave cheating because I thought that we could get over it. In the end, everything turned out to be SOSO. The trust never returned. It felt like there was always some kind of shadow between us. We tried, but over time, the relationship just came to naught. Forgiving was one thing, but it turned out to be impossible to forget. But this experience taught me a lot in terms of what I needed from a relationship. I forgave her, but we divorced anyway. I just realized that the person I loved turned into someone I didn't know at all. I realized that I can to forgive the very fact that he slept with someone on the side, but I couldn't come to terms with all the lies, the broken trust, and the fact that he didn't think about my health. As a result, I ended this relationship. While we are still on more or less good terms, we have overlapping groups of friends, so if we are dating, we can talk at some party. Now we are both happily married to other people. I hope he drew conclusions from what happened. I had exactly the same thing even a long time after the betrayal itself. It hurt me because of the lies. If a person looks at you in the face, if he's lying directly to a simple question, then any word he says will raise doubts. You'll never be sure where the truth is and where it's just convenient information for me. We're in a normal relationship now. After what happened, we both married other people even though she's already divorced. It seems to me that she never really learned how to tell the truth. Many years later, she caught him cheating on her again. That's the end for me. We were married for 31 years. Sometimes murderers are given less time. Mobs cheated on each other. During that period, we used many different drugs. And now we're both tied up. It's become part of our recovery. Now, everything is fine. 7 years have passed since then. I forgave him, but our relationship began to crumble because I no longer trusted him. He began to resent me, and we slowly sank until 2 years later, everything finally ended. We were together for 12 years. As it turned out, he never stopped cheating on me. He just got better at hiding it. Looking back, there are a few things I would like to do differently. After I found out, I told him to pack up and leave for a few days to my parents so that I could sort out my feelings. He lived in my apartment. I wasn't decisive enough, and in the end, he stayed with me. I think if we had distanced ourselves in bed, everything became very bad after that. I no longer felt comfortable and pretended for 2 years so that he would just hurry up. If I had finished now, I would have just honestly told him that nothing was working out between us. He made me promise that I would not tell anyone about his infidelity. I did as he asked. When it was over, he started. Everyone is talking nonsense about how he was a victim, and I just went crazy. It was very painful for me to lose the whole company of friends. If I had been honest, then they would have known that he destroyed our relationship a few years ago. Forgiving a partner who cheated on you, 0 out of 5 stars. I do not recommend to anyone. We have been together for more than 30 years. The betrayal happened about 25 years ago. Very frank conversations and some degree of distrust helped us cope. In the beginning, we were young and we were able to get through it, and now we're doing great, but I still don't recommend such an experience to anyone. I forgave him and stayed with him a year later. After that, I returned home for lunch early, without warning. When I went to the front door, I heard some strange noises similar to the ominous cawing of a crow. It turned out that his work colleague was sitting under his kitchen table, which I had only recently installed for my own money. Her tears were mixed with mascara and flowed directly onto his balls. She changed when we were still dating later. I caught her with my neighbor after 10 years of marriage. We already had 2 children, and I stayed again. I recently learned about suspicious things she was doing during a trip with her friends. A few years ago, it happened a long time ago, but it turned out to be new information for me, which only reminded me how bad it is to live with a man who is unable to respect you. The infidelities did not stop. He just became more careful and protected better. Soon after that, I divorced this pathetic goat. It took 5 years of hard work and acceptance that this would be a completely different relationship than the ones I've been in for the last 15 years. In a sense, you're starting from scratch. I don't blame anyone for how they deal with the trauma of cheating. The main thing is to make a decision that suits you. I read somewhere that when a person changes in a relationship, you need to assume that the previous relationship is over, even if you decide to continue. Their previous level of trust will never be restored, and the dynamics of this relationship will completely change. I don't know if he cheated again, but the trust was so undermined that it no longer mattered to me. I became nervous, my self-esteem dropped, and it all turned into some kind of toxic maelstrom. But I don't recommend this experience to anyone. Each situation is individual. There are times when I could ask for cheating, for example, if it happened emotionally at the beginning of a relationship, and the person himself honestly confessed. My ex cheated on me with 4 different men. She had several meetings with one of them, and it all lasted 2 years. Maybe I could have gotten over it if she had told me everything herself, but she lied to my face. Even when I asked direct questions, I had to print out my phone, call history, and say that I would call everyone. And then she started telling the truth. And the worst part is that because I fell for the lie, I talked to these friends of hers, even treated them to drinks and food while they were roasting my girlfriend. Sometimes they were all together in the same room smiling. I wondered to my face if they knew about each other. When the whole truth came out, she was overwhelmed with shame and remorse. She was just desperate. They went to therapy, but it turned out to be not enough. No matter how many regrets she expressed, and no matter how much she changed, I no longer had respect for her. I felt too much resentment to live with her in a healthy relationship. The most I could do was blunt my emotions and pretend that everything was fine, but you can't live like that. I was in a serious long-term relationship with a girl who lived a few hours away from me. I tried to visit her every weekend. One day she went. I went out with friends, got drunk, and slept with my ex. Crash. She told me about it right away. I went to her and we talked about it all night. I decided that I could get over it and promised myself that I would never use this case in arguments or remind her of it, and I kept my promise. After that, the argument is much stronger as the couple stayed together for another 3 years. I had a dying parent, so I couldn't move in with her. As a result, we broke up. My parent died 3 months later, and now I'm in a relationship with the most wonderful partner I could ever dream of, so I am where I should be. I forgave 2 different partners. The first one was abusive and controlling, threatening to commit suicide if I left. Because of a mixture of fear for him and fear of him, I still stayed, but his behavior got worse and worse. Cheating became more frequent, and eventually he left me for a girl he called just a friend. As it turned out, she was just as sick and controlling as he was, so he wanted to come back to me about it. Our mutual friend told me, but by that time I had already moved and blocked his number and all social networks. I forgave the second one because I had no solid evidence. He lied that he was just talking to a friend about having feelings for her, but there was nothing else. The other friend threatened to tell me everything if he told me himself. I felt like he wasn't telling me something, like he was hiding something worse, especially when he deleted it, saying that this was to avoid messing up again. This decision seemed too radical to me. I did not understand why he considered himself so guilty. I later found out that he described to a huge number of girls, sent them all sorts of vulgarities, and tried to flirt with them. Many of our friends knew about this, but did not tell me because they believed that I was making his life better. They apparently did not care that he was making my life worse by deleting my profile on social networks. He did not stop anyway. He continued to cheat on me when he went on a business trip. It was necessary to solve everything at the root. When I noticed all these suspicious moments, absolute evidence was not needed, considering that he was already hiding something. I did not forgive. I was the one who was forgiven for cheating at the age of 18. I accidentally ended up in an emotionally abusive relationship with a man 10 years older than me. My naive 18-year-old brain thought that we would meet for a week and break up, as in my previous teenage relationship. His adult brain decided that we would get married and have children. When I tried to break up with him, He threatened to commit suicide. I was naive and bought it. I stayed with him for more than a year, feeling more and more trapped. In the end, I cheated on him with a guy my age, which I really liked afterwards. I came up with the brilliant idea to tell him about the betrayal. He would leave me and I would be free. I did so, but he said, I forgive you and I'm staying with you, but now you have to try even harder to prove your love. I endured for a couple more months before I realized that I didn't care that he would do it and decided to leave. When I told him that I was leaving him, he pushed me out of the car on the move. After a 2-year affair on the side, I eventually forgave him. We went through a long series of years of individual and family therapy. I rejected the idea if he cheated once, he will always cheat, because my husband really worked on himself after a few years, and I discovered that he had another affair that lasted a year and a half. It turns out that his work on himself did not bring results. So yes, if he changed once, he will always change. It took a lot of thought, a lot of hours of family therapy. I didn't want to end our marriage, and he really regretted what he had done. Now I understand that this was a serious crisis situation in his life, plus a few personal moments that I don't want to talk about. He left for another. To a woman 1,500 miles away, we were able to work out all the problems through therapy. He started seeing a psychologist, and eventually we were able to move on. For the first year after his return, we lived as roommates in separate bedrooms until we were both ready to really invest in this marriage again. I don't hold grudges, and never I remind him of this. I don't dig into his phone. If you forgive a person, you can't hold a grudge. It takes a lot of work and deep mutual commitment to each other. It doesn't go away by itself. It doesn't work. It's not even about the fact of getting laid. Side A is that a person is ready to destroy your trust and hurt you for your own benefit. You will never be able to be with this person in a truly vulnerable state again. You wasted 8 years, and then she filed for divorce. Having changed, it is still unknown how many times after the betrayal it's over. Don't waste time. Start building your life anew. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments under the video, those who forgave their partner for cheating, write how it ended, and do not forget to watch our other videos. Hugged. While